Are you ready to maximize your time at Disneyland? Disneyland is like the ultimate in theme park magic. It offers a ton of experiences and attractions, but it can sometimes feel overwhelming, especially for first time visitors. Whether you're planning a once in a lifetime trip or you're a regular guest looking to squeeze every drop of fun out of your visit, this episode is for you. We're going to talk about tips, insider secrets, strategic planning advice, all to ensure that you have the best time at the happiest place on earth. From navigating crowds to optimizing ride wait times, I've got you covered with everything you need to know to unlock the full potential of your Disneyland vacation. Let's get going. Hi, I'm Melissa with Mix in Some Magic. I'm a Disney planning expert and I'm here to mix a little magic into your day. Each week I share Disney vacation planning tips, park strategies, and a little bit of Disney history sprinkled in. Of course, I like to include lots of Disney magic. Join me, let's mix in some magic. Hello and welcome! I'm so glad you're here. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for letting me be a part of it just for a little while. I love you. You are the best. The weather at my house has been kind of dreary and rainy, mostly, and then it'll be sunny and hot and amazing. Yesterday it was 75 degrees, sunny, and today it is 54 degrees and rainy. So I don't know what's happening, but I'm kind of inclined to like the rainy days more. I don't know. I just feel like summer's so hot and long, and I am more of a rainy, gloomy weather person, I think. I lived in Arizona for 10 years with my little kids, and it was hot and it was sunny, and we loved living there. It was amazing. We made lots of great memories, but I would get so sick of the sunshine. It was just constant sunshine all the time, and I just wanted a rainy, cloudy day, which were few and far between. So when we moved to Utah, I have really enjoyed the weather. I like colder weather. I like rainy weather. I think I could really thrive in Seattle or Portland or somewhere that got a lot of rain and was gloomy a lot of the time. I think I would like it. It doesn't make me sad. It doesn't make me depressed. It kind of makes me happy. I don't know what that says about me as a person. Not sure. But I do know that because of the weather, I have not gotten out into my yard and it is a mess, like a complete disaster. There's so many weeds. My garden's not anywhere close to being ready to go, which is annoying. Do you know what's super annoying is even when we had snow on the ground, my weeds were growing, like popping up through the snow, and I don't think that's fair. I don't think that weeds should be allowed to grow until it's warm enough to go out and take care of them. Or maybe just weeds shouldn't be allowed to grow at all, honestly, but I don't know who I talked to about that, but it was making me so mad to look out there and see snow on the ground, but my weeds getting taller and taller. So the weather is going to change. It's going to be warmer, and then I'm going to have to get out there and get my weeds pulled, get my garden planted. There just never seems to be time to do it all. That's okay. Enough about that. Enough about my weather complaining and my yard problems. You would think to hear me talk that I have like this huge yard, that I live on property. I don't. We do have a decent sized yard. I think we have like a 1/4 acre. So it is a good sized, but it is definitely manageable for your average person. Not so much manageable for me because I get overwhelmed with the weeds and the size of it, but it's not a ginormous place. Oh, I didn't want to lead you astray, thinking poor Melissa with her giant yard and so much to do. That's really not the case. I just need to prioritize my time, which is not one of my strong suits. Okay, anyway, moving on. Thank you so much to everyone who left a review for the month of April in honor of my birthday. You guys are amazing. These reviews are so sweet, so thoughtful. I appreciate you taking the time to leave them. I mean, some of them I got pretty emotional reading them. I appreciate it so much. And the contest is over. So we did a little contest where I was going to pick 2 winners, send them a $50 gift card, and I'm going to choose the winners right now. I haven't even picked yet. I'm just scrolling through them on my phone, and I'm going to stop and put my finger on one, and that'll be our first winner. Our first winner is Boo Muffin 123. Says, please take me to Disneyland. The review says, as a happy wife, a joyful mom of 3 bigs, and a devoted pediatric speech language therapist, I share love and light with others constantly. To fill my own cup, I escape to Disney through podcasts like yours. Melissa, I've been with you since the beginning, so please forgive me for not reviewing sooner. Your content is extremely helpful and pragmatic, and your delivery is always gentle and gracious. Your family is blessed to have you with them on Disney trips. I particularly loved the episode with your brother and his family. I spend my days playing with toys on the floor with children, so the little toys distributed in lines resonated for sure. I love your pod because although you share practical grown-up tips for navigating an increasingly complex experience, you do so with the innocent, wonder-filled heart of a child, and it makes for a fantastic combination. Your pod is only getting better with each episode. Good job taking the next right step. You both inspire and educate me. What a gift. Much love from Atlanta, Jen. Thank you so much, Jen, for your review. That was very sweet. Thank you, thank you. I do not have email addresses. Like when you send in a review, I don't know who you actually are. I see your review and I see your username, but I don't know who you actually are. So, Jen, #BooMuffin123. If you would please send me an email at mixinsamemagic@gmail.com. Let me know you're one of the winners so I can get you your gift card. Thank you, thank you. All right, our next winner, scrolling, random, I gotta make sure they left a review in April, is Yen OOC2. Yenuk2, maybe? It says, always makes me smile. I'm always happy to see a new available episode of Melissa's podcast. Her show is relaxing, informative, and filled with good humor. She's also so relatable. I completely agree that I would rather be comfortable than dress up for an event, for example. She's in the parks often and has great advice. Very fun show. As an update, still listening, still smiling. This is one of the few podcasts I listen to that is truly relaxing. I appreciate how real Melissa is. I enjoy hearing about how she manages her day-to-day life as well as time in the parks. She also sometimes has fun guests. A Disney podcast I'm always glad to listen to. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yenuk2, please also send me an email, mixinsamemagic@gmail.com, so I can get you your gift card. Thank you to everybody who entered. I appreciate it so much. I really do, because podcasts are hard to spread the word on. So when people leave reviews, then Apple will bump my podcast higher if it has current reviews. If somebody's searching for Disney tips or Disneyland or whatever it is, then they'll show people my podcast when they're searching. And if I don't have current reviews, they don't do that. So I appreciate everyone who left a review. I really do. Even if you didn't leave a review in April and you've left a review in the past, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for helping my podcast stay current and to grow. Anybody who still wants to leave a review, I, of course, always love and welcome reviews and appreciate them so much because I know it's a hassle to stop your day and leave a review. When I started this podcast and started asking people to leave reviews, then I was like, wait a minute, have I ever left a review on a podcast? No, never. But I did. I went in all the podcasts that I listen to regularly. I went in and left reviews because I realized how much it actually makes a difference. So thank you to everyone. There's still time. There's always time. You can always leave a review, and I appreciate it so much. Today, we are going to be talking about maximizing your time in the parks. Because if you're like me, you want to get every single moment possible out of this trip. Did that even make sense? Every moment possible? No, that didn't. You want to make the most of every moment possible. You want to make the most of every moment. That's what I'm trying to say. Disney trips are expensive. You're paying a lot of money to be there. You're taking time off of work. Sometimes you take kids out of school. A lot of people have to travel to get there. and you want to maximize your time. You don't want to show up and go through this vacation and leave feeling like you've wasted your money. That would be the absolute worst. You've wasted your money, you've wasted your time. You didn't get out of it what you wanted. So that's what we're going to talk about today, 20 ways that you can maximize your time so that you can feel like you've gotten the most out of your trip. Now, when I say maximizing your time, a lot of people will get stressed and feel like that means they need to plan every second of their vacation. That's not the case. There's lots of ways you can maximize your time without feeling like you're super scheduled for your vacation. Now, I know lots of people like to be super scheduled for their vacation. I know people who will make spreadsheets and like every hour is planned out, and that's how they enjoy doing their vacation because that's what works for them. And other people are just more fly by the seat of their pants and just want to see where the day takes them. That's okay too. However you vacation is great, but you really should still work to maximize your time. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get into it. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Mixin' Some Magic. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to give a shout out to our amazing sponsor, Audible. I am now an Audible affiliate, and I am so excited about it. I've been using Audible for years, and I am really happy to have this chance to team up with a brand that I have loved and used for quite some time. If you love the magic of storytelling, but find it hard to make time for reading, Audible is your perfect solution. With Audible, you can listen to a huge selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and more, all from the convenience of your favorite device. Whether you're into thrilling mysteries, self-help, or epic fantasy, Audible has something for everyone because they have thousands of titles available. As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including the latest bestsellers and new releases. But that's not all. Members also get full access to a growing selection of included audiobooks, Audible originals, and podcasts. You can download or stream included titles all you want. Most of our Disney Book Club selections are available on Audible, including this month's title. And here's the best part. I've teamed up with Audible to offer you an exclusive deal. By using my special link, you can get a free 30-day trial of Audible. That's right, 30 days of stories, knowledge, and entertainment absolutely free. If you love podcasts, and you must because you're here, I know you'll love Audible. Just visit www.audibletrial.com/mixinsomeMagic to start your free trial today. That's www.audibletrial.com/mixinsomeMagic. I'll also include a link for you in the show notes. It's a fantastic way to discover the joy of audiobooks and to support my podcast at the same time. Happy listening, and thanks to Audible for making today's episode possible. Ads are a pain in the butt. I really don't like them, but unfortunately, they are a necessary evil when you run a podcast. If you're listening to the ad and affiliate-supported version of Mixin' Some Magic, thank you. Your support helps keep Mixin' Some Magic running. If you're listening to the ad-free version on Patreon, thank you as well. Your monthly support is so appreciated and helps me with equipment costs, editing software, research materials for the show, and more. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, I'll put a link in the show notes. There's several membership options, with the lowest being $5 a month. All Patreon supporters are invited to attend our monthly Disney Book Club as well. So come and join us. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get back to the episode. Welcome back. All right, these 20 tips are not in any particular order. One is not more important than the other. They're all, well, maybe they're not all equally important, but they're all important. Maybe there's some that are more important than others. Like number 1 is buy park tickets ahead of time. This is probably really important, more important than some of the others, because some people still assume that you can show up to Disneyland and buy your tickets at the gate. You cannot. You must buy your ticket ahead of time. So if you show up to Disneyland to buy your tickets, I mean, you've wasted all your time because you're doing the opposite of maximizing, because you cannot buy tickets at the park gate. You have to do it online. And at Disneyland, you still have to make a park reservation. You can make park reservations 120 days in advance, and I recommend that you do make them as soon as possible. The park doesn't often book up, but it does book up, especially during the busier times of year. So if you all of a sudden realize 2 days before your vacation that you haven't bought park tickets or made your park reservations, you could be in trouble. Park reservations could be gone. So if you happen to be planning a last-minute trip before you buy your tickets, check to make sure there are park reservations and just buy them in advance whenever possible. I like to buy them through my travel partners at Getaway Today because they always discount it off the gate price, and you can buy them more than 120 days in advance. So Disneyland won't let you buy your tickets more than 120 days out, but at Getaway Today, you can buy them through the end of 2024. They're also selling tickets into 2025 right now. So you can buy them, can't make your park reservations till 120 days out, but you can have the tickets purchased and ready to go, which is a good idea because Disneyland is going to raise their prices soon. They do it every single year in October. Every year, people are so upset and so shocked, but it happens. So if you are planning on visiting in November or December, or even January of next year, buying your tickets now isn't a bad idea, because when the ticket prices increase, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you because you already purchased them at the old price. So if you know you're going, just grab your tickets. You can make your park reservations later when the time comes, but lock in the tickets because you never know when prices are going to change. Because we just heard that Disneyland is going to be having a ticket sale for the summer. It's starting on May 29th. I'll have tons more information about that probably in the next episode, and on my Instagram for sure. But tickets for kids are going to be as low as $50, $83 per day for adults. So it's a great deal. If you've already purchased your tickets and a deal like that comes out and you've purchased through Disneyland, it's too bad for you. They don't care. You're just out the money. There's nothing they do for you. If you purchase your tickets in advance through Getaway Today and a sale like that comes out, you can call Getaway Today and they will refund you the difference. So when people don't book through Getaway Today, I'm always like, oh, what are you doing? You're paying more, and there's a chance that you're going to be paying a lot more if there's a sale, because you're not going to get that money back. So I always book through Getaway Today. I'm going to put a link in the show notes, or you can call them at 855-GETAWAY. Tell them Mix and Some Magic sent you for the best rates. Number 2 is plan ahead. Do some research before you show up, specifically for the layout of the park. I think is very, very helpful. So look at the maps. They're all over the website. They have them on the Disneyland app. You can find a Disneyland map online. Look at the layout. Look at where things are. Kind of pinpoint, okay, here's Haunted Mansion. Here's where Toontown is. I see Space Mountain is over here. Oh, there's the restaurant I wanted to eat at. Here's the Riverbell Terrace. I wanted to go there. Just kind of orient yourself by looking at the map so it's not so foreign to you when you arrive. You can also check out the attractions on the map. You'll be able to see wait times in advance. So I can look on the app right now and see how long the wait is for Space Mountain. So it's kind of a good idea to get familiar with the app, get familiar with the layout, get familiar with the attractions, figure out height requirements. Plan ahead for little things like that so when you show up, you know where you want to go. You know, okay, first thing we want to head to Jungle Cruise, or we're going to go to Fantasyland first. Like, kind of make those basic plans if you're not one to like plan out every single detail, but make some basic plans so that you don't waste time standing around. I've seen it so many times. Every time I go to Disneyland almost, I see a family who walks into the parks so excited. Kids are literally jumping up and down. And then they just stop right after they get through the ticket gates and they kind of look at each other like, well, now what? And inevitably they walk over to the maps and they pull one out and they open it up and they kind of start looking around at the map and they're like, oh, well, we could go over here and go on the teacups. And then their kid next to him is yelling, I want to go on Indiana Jones. And the other one's yelling, I want to go on Star Tours. And they don't have a plan. And they stand there staring at a map, trying to find out where everything is, trying to orient themselves and trying to figure out what their plan is. And they're just wasting time is what's happening. And their kids are getting mad because they're like, I wanted to go on Indiana Jones, but they ended up going to the teacups first. And it's just a mess. Don't let this be you. Figure out how you're going to start your day at least beforehand and know where you're going so you don't have to waste precious park time figuring out those details. When my kids were little, before we would go, we would have a little family meeting and I would say, what's important to you? What do you want to make sure you ride? Is there a character you want to see? Is there a show you want to see? Do we want to see parades? Do we want to see fireworks? Is there a treat that you really want to make sure you have? And I would kind of get everybody's ideas. And then I would tell them, we are going to do all of these things, but not necessarily in the order that you might think is best. So I promise we're going to get to all of them, but we're going to have to do other things. And the order's not always going to make sense to you, maybe in your 5-year-old mind, but I promise we're going to get to it. But I don't want to hear like all the complaining about it. Everybody was not allowed to complain when they were little, and we would talk about it. We're going to do it all. But I don't want to hear complaining. We'll get to it when we get to it. So just settle in, have fun, enjoy, and let's all just chill out. So make a plan. That's what I'm saying. Number 3 is eat breakfast before you arrive. Starting your Disneyland day with breakfast before you arrive will save you valuable time because that first hour and a half to 2 hours of the park opening have the lowest wait times for the day. So if you show up to Disneyland hungry, you're going to ride a ride, take advantage of those low wait times, and then everybody's going to be starving. So while you're spending an hour eating breakfast, that's an hour that you're not going on rides during those low wait times. You could probably have hit 3 or 4 or 5 rides during that hour, but you're eating breakfast. So you are missing the great times because everyone's hungry. But I get it. If your kids are hungry and falling apart, or you are, or your husband, you're going to have to stop and eat breakfast. So I always recommend eat breakfast before you arrive. Now, sometimes that means eating it in your hotel. Sometimes that means eating it on the go. When my kids were little, I would always pack snacks and I would just hand them to them as we were walking over to the park, as we were waiting in line for security. As we were waiting for rope drop, they were eating their breakfast. It kept them busy because they had something to do. And then they were full and we didn't have to stop to eat while we were trying to get on these low wait times for these attractions. So eat breakfast before you go. If you do want to eat breakfast in the park, because they do have some yummy breakfast options, I would get like a snack or something to hold you over. Do rope drop and then around 10:30, 10 o'clock, then go do breakfast. But don't waste your time doing breakfast first thing in the morning. Number 4 is arrive to the parks early to really maximize your time. Getting to the parks in time for rope drop is really, really important. Arriving 45 to 60 minutes before the park opens is going to make a big difference. You'll be there before most of the other guests and you'll be able to get on a bunch of attractions. It's really, really helpful. But don't go to Peter Pan. Don't go to Rise of the Resistance. I don't have time to talk to you about that right now, but I think you know that. I hope. Just don't go there. Really anywhere else, but don't go there. Number 5 is use Disney Genie Plus. I know a lot of people are down on it. They're mad because it used to be a free thing and now they're mad because it's not. Now you have to pay for it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm mad too. I wish it was still free, but it's not. I think it's time we all just got over it. But it does make a difference because you have to pay money for it. Not as many people use it. And so you're able to get onto the attractions quicker when you have Genie Plus, especially if you know how to use it and use it efficiently. So if you are visiting and you're like, we only have a couple of days, we're trying to maximize our time, we're going to get everything done possible, Genie Plus is just the way to go. I would put that in your budget, make it work for you. If you visit several times a year and you don't really care about getting every last second of fun out of your trip because you're going to come back, you don't mind waiting in long lines, then you probably don't need Genie Plus. It would be fine. But if you want to maximize your time, definitely Genie Plus is the way to go. I do have an episode about using Genie Plus. I'll put a link in the show notes, so check that out. Number 6 is use single rider lines. For certain attractions, not very many, I wish there were more, you can use single rider line to bypass the standby line and get on the attraction quicker. This isn't cheating. I've actually had, believe it or not, people send me messages, angry messages saying that that's cheating and why would I tell people to do that? Like, it's not line jumping, it's the single rider line put out there by Disney. This is legit. You can go in the single rider line. It's an actual thing. You do have to be 7 years old to ride single rider, but if your family is willing to do it, then it can save you a ton of time. Now, I have a child or two who hate single rider because they hate the idea of sitting next to a stranger on the ride because your party is going to be split up. That's just the way it works. You're not going to wait in the single rider line for 10 minutes for Space Mountain and then sit next to the person that you waited in line with. So even if you have a 7-year-old, they're going to put them in with somebody else. That's the single rider. You agree to be split up by waiting in that line. I've seen parents get upset. They wait in the single rider and they're like, no, he's only 8. He needs to sit by me. And the cast members are like, what did you think the single rider line was? So just know you will be separated. Every once in a while it works out so that you get to sit next to somebody in your group, but most of the time you're going to be separated. I have kids who hate this, who would rather wait in the hour line than do single rider. And so we usually wait in the hour line because that's what they would prefer to do because the idea of sitting next to a stranger, they just hate. So it kind of depends on your family. Over in California Adventure Park, you have Goofy Sky School, Incredicoaster, Radiator Springs Racers, Grizzly River Run, Web Slingers, and sometimes Soarin' over California will have single rider. Soarin', you will need to ask if you want to do single rider, and then the cast member at the front will be able to tell you if that's an option. So definitely ask. There's also a thing for Monsters, Inc. called a buddy pass. It's not technically a single rider line, but it kind of is. A buddy pass is basically single rider, but for 2 people or 3 if you have 2 little kids and an adult. So how this works is you go up to the cast member at the front of Monsters, Inc. and you say, hey, are you doing the buddy pass? And they'll either tell you yes or no, because it kind of depends on the day and the line. If they are doing buddy pass, they'll give you a little pass. You go in through the exit and you will walk right up. You'll see other guests waiting for their buddy pass. And they load you into the last row of a car. So the cars have 3 rows on Monsters, Inc. And groups will usually fill the first 2 rows, and then there's often a 3rd row that is left empty. So they will use the buddy pass line to put people into that 3rd row. So this works really well for our family. When there were 6 of us there, we would do the buddy pass, and then we would just split up in our group into groups of 2. And instead of waiting in the long line for Monsters, Inc., we would just use the buddy pass line and really usually only wait a few minutes. That's a great option if you have kids that don't want to ride by themselves in single rider. Try the buddy pass line. Now that, again, is just for Monsters, Inc., except for they do have it over at Disneyland for Winnie the Pooh. So you can also, they call it a Roo Pass over at the Winnie the Pooh attraction, but they do the exact same thing. It's for 2 people or 3 very small people, like an adult and 2 little kids. So you can do the same thing with the Roo Pass. They're not always doing it, so you just have to ask the cast member at the front. Also at Disneyland, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run has single rider, Matterhorn Bobsleds has single rider, and Space Mountain has a single rider. Number 7 is take advantage of early entry if you are staying on property at a Disneyland Resort hotel. So early entry is only available for on-property guests. Rope drop is for everyone. Anyone can rope drop, but early entry is only available for hotel guests. But you can get into one of the parks 30 minutes early. That definitely will help maximize your time. So if you're staying on property, take advantage of that because every little bit helps. Number 8 is optimize dining times. I like to eat during off-peak hours to avoid long lines and craziness at restaurants. Obviously, mobile ordering is a great way to go, but even when you mobile order, if lines are long and if it's high noon, I'm like a cowboy. If it's noon everybody's hungry, everybody's eating, so there's not going to be as many tables available. Mobile ordering, like while you're waiting for your food to pick it up, is usually going to be longer. There's just more craziness. So I like to eat at off times if possible, just to kind of get away from that craziness. Plus, if you figure a bunch of people are going to be eating at noon, you can be going on rides because the wait times will be shorter because everyone's over eating their lunch. So if you could wait until 1:30 to eat, then you're probably going to have less crowds while you're eating, and you'll be able to go in some shorter lines while other people are eating their food, if that makes sense. Number 9 is use mobile ordering. Mobile order your food whenever possible. Most quick service restaurants offer mobile ordering, so take advantage of that. It's just one less line you have to wait in. Plus, I think it passes the time in long lines. So if you're waiting for Pirates of the Caribbean, why not be looking at the lunch menu at different restaurants and mobile ordering your food and figure out what you're going to eat later in the day? It's an activity, fun for the kids, because who doesn't like thinking about the yummy food you're going to eat later in the day? And then you maximize your time because you're not waiting in line for your food. Number 10, snack smart. Bring a refillable water bottle and snacks to avoid spending time in lines for food and drink. If all of a sudden you're hungry or your 2-year-old is hungry, you're like, shoot, we don't have any snacks. I guess we need to wait in this 15-minute line to buy a pretzel or a churro. Now, I'm not suggesting you altogether skip the pretzels and the churros. I'm just saying, if you have a designated snack break, that's one thing. But if you don't have any snacks with you and you're constantly having to stop and buy snacks for different people in your group who are hungry, it's a big fat waste of time. So I recommend having water with you, having snacks with you, so that you can not waste your time for every single time you need a snack or your kids need a snack. I also recommend making snack breaks happen while you're waiting in those long park lines. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Say you're getting in line for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and it's 40 minutes. What a great time to have a snack. Instead of having a snack before you get in line for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and sitting down and snacking for 30 minutes, why not have your snack in line? So you're getting your snack and you're waiting in line. In my family, we don't have snack breaks unless we're in line. If we're going to stop and get a pretzel, we're not going to eat that pretzel unless we're in line, if that makes sense. So we're going to be always waiting in a line, so we always are on our way to another attraction. Number 11 is use the Disneyland app. The official Disneyland app is amazing. It provides real-time information on ride wait times, on show schedules, on where to find characters, on where the bathrooms are, all kinds of stuff. Super helpful. I really love it, especially for checking wait times, because if you're thinking, oh, let's go ride on Smuggler's Run, but you're over on Main Street, maybe you want to check the time on the Disneyland app to see how long the wait is, to see if you're willing to wait whatever the wait time is before you walk all the way across the whole park to get back there to Smuggler's Run. So definitely check wait times. It's a great, great tool. Number 12 is take breaks strategically. So you're going to need a break during the day. It's just really, really helpful. Everyone's going to fall apart at some point, and if you have a break time where you're really not waiting in lines, it makes a big difference. So I always recommend people take a break, but take a strategic break. Instead of wasting time on a break, take a break by watching a show or by riding the train or maybe by going on It's a Small World. Something relaxing and long. I think It's a Small World is almost 20 minutes. Or have a sit-down meal, like schedule a dining reservation that's table service, because those feel much more like a break than quick service because you are waited on and you get to sit at the table and they bring you your food, things like that. So if you know you're going to need a break, which I highly recommend, maybe make a dining reservation for 2 p.m. so that you're eating and you're also taking a break at the same time. So if you're trying to maximize your time, try to take a break while you're doing something else, not just sitting there in the shade, which is also very nice. But remember, we're trying to maximize our time. Number 13 is follow a touring plan. If you really want to maximize your time at Disneyland, I highly recommend a touring plan. A good touring plan will help you skip the long lines, and it can really take the stress out of your day. It's a great option, and I really recommend it. I have touring plans on my website. I'll put a link in the show notes. I have touring plans with Genie Plus and without Genie Plus. They give you a step-by-step guide to your day so that you always know what's next. It's never like, oh, what should we do next? You don't have any of that. There's no guesswork. It's literally a step-by-step guide so that you know what's happening and you can maximize your time. Number 14 is stay flexible. While planning is important, staying flexible is equally as important. Ride closures and weather and even the energy levels of your group can kind of derail your day at times. But if you're able to be flexible, it allows you to make the most of these unexpected situations, and then you can quickly adjust. So something's going to go wrong during your visit. Just plan on that. Something's going to happen and you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I had it planned on that. But if you are flexible, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be able to pivot, you're going to do something else, and everything's going to be fine. If you aren't able to be flexible and get upset and spend time being angry, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they closed down Indiana Jones. We were just getting ready to go on it. What are we going to do now? And fall apart, you're wasting your time. Don't waste your time. Be flexible. It'll make everything easier. Promise, promise. Number 15 is use Rider Switch, also known as Rider Swap. It's this convenient service offered at Disneyland and California Adventure that allows families with small children to experience the rides without waiting twice in line. So essentially, one adult waits in line while the other stays with the non-riding child. And then after the adult that was on the ride finishes, then they can switch places and the second adult can go through the lightning lane to ride the attraction without waiting in the whole long standby line again. So this allows families to maximize their time if you're wanting everybody to ride the attraction, which I recommend. If you're only going once in a lifetime or once every 5 years, you want both adults that are with you to be able to experience the attractions. It would be sad if they both didn't get to ride on Space Mountain or they both didn't get to do Big Thunder Mountain, things like that. So Rider Switch can really maximize your time. So take advantage of that. Now, I love a good parade and fireworks, but number 16 is taking advantage of the parade and fireworks show. Lots of guests like me like to watch the parades, they like to watch the fireworks, but consider using this time to go on attractions because the lines are usually shorter during parades and fireworks because everyone's gathering and watching the entertainment, so not as many people are in line. So if you don't mind missing the parade or missing the fireworks show, this can be a great time to get in some lines that are shorter. Stay informed about wait times. We kind of talked about this a little bit before, but use the Disneyland app to monitor wait times throughout the day. You can use this information to help you make informed decisions about which attraction to visit because you don't want to be running all around the park only to find that the line is longer than you're willing to wait. Also, very strategic to watch the wait times or watch ride closures. So if you see that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is temporarily closed and that's one you wanted to ride, the real good idea to keep an eye on that attraction just on the Disneyland app. Keep an eye on it because if it opens up and you are nearby, you can go over there and you're going to beat the longest lines because you're getting there before everybody else realizes it's opened back up. So I've used this little strategy to my advantage a bunch of times. If a ride that I really wanted to do was closed, then I get kind of excited because I know they're going to open it up soon. And if I can be nearby enjoying other things, there's a good chance I'll be able to get in line fairly quickly after they reopen and I won't have to wait as long. Number 18 is don't visit on major holidays. The Disneyland Park does everything they can to make sure it is crowded. That's how they make extra money. But it is extra crowded on major holidays. And it's harder to maximize your time when the parks are excessively crowded. It's not impossible, but it is harder. So if possible, plan your visit on non-holidays so that you can have lower crowds. I'm not saying no crowds, but the crowds are definitely going to be lower if you visit in early June than they will be over the 4th of July. So if you're able, avoid holidays. It's just easier to maximize your time when there's less people in the parks. Number 19 is save shopping for the end of the night. To maximize your time at Disneyland, save your souvenir shopping for break time. That would be a good thing to do on a break if you're looking for some air conditioning and you just want to take a break, do your souvenir shopping then. Or I like to do it at the end of the night because shopping during those peak hours can eat into your park time. But the shops on Main Street, the shops on Buena Vista Street, they're all open 1 hour after the park closes. So you can go on all the rides, you can enjoy the park till the very last second, and then you can go do some souvenir shopping in that last hour. I mean, the park's already closed, but the shops stay open. So go and do that and get your souvenirs, but don't waste your park time while you're doing it. Number 20, and our last one, is end the day strategically. Now, if you're really wanting to eke out every possible second at Disneyland, then stay until the park closes. Because the last 2 hours of the day usually have much shorter wait times than normal. These wait times are comparable or better to rope drop times. I've done some testing on this, and it was really, really surprising. So we did rope drop, and then we stayed all the way till close. It was very scientific. Maybe. I don't know. It seems scientific to me. What we did is we rope dropped. I was with my cousin Mandy. We rope dropped, and we kept track of all the rides that we were able to do during the first 2 hours. And then the last 2 hours, the park was open till midnight. So starting at 10 p.m., we reversed our rope drop order. So the ride that we ended with last when we were rope dropping, we started with that ride and we went backwards to see if we could get all those same rides done at the end of the night that we did during rope drop. And we were able to ride one extra. So in that one test that we did, it was more effective to stay those last 2 hours than it was to rope drop. I'm not saying don't rope drop. I'm saying if you want to really maximize your time, do both. Rope drop in the morning, but then also stay late. Now, the trickier thing is at night, Disneyland inflates the wait times. They always inflate their wait times a little bit because they'd rather post that a ride is a 30-minute wait and then you only wait 20 minutes and then you feel really good about it instead of posting that it's a 30-minute wait and it ends up being a 40-minute wait, then people get mad. So they always inflate their wait times a little bit. You can almost always expect the wait times to be a little bit shorter than what is posted. But at night, the wait times are even more inflated. So the Big Thunder Mountain might say 40 minutes at 11 p.m., but you're probably going to actually only wait 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So the wait times are much more inflated at night, so keep that in mind, but that is such a good way to maximize your time. My cousin and I actually spent the whole day we were doing this testing trying to come up with a good rhyme to call it, because I like rhyming words, and we're like rope drop. It doesn't rhyme, but it sounds good together. So we decided to call it ride stop when you stay late, because you're staying until the rides stop running. So you can do rope drop and ride stop, and you're going to really get the most of your time. Now, this is hard for me to do because I'm old, but it's hard to do both. But if you can do both, it's going to be great. If you can only do one or the other, if you're going to like one of those that likes to sleep in, that's great, but maybe stay till it closes so you can take advantage of those low wait times as well. Now, I did want to mention, while you're maximizing your time at Disneyland, don't take it too seriously. You're still there to have fun. You're still there to make memories. I have had Disney trips where I have been so stressed about getting everything done and trying to maximize our time that when I looked back on our trip, I realized that I really didn't have very much fun, and I probably made the trip less enjoyable for my family too because I was so concerned about getting the most out of our time and money that I kind of forgot to just relax and enjoy the vacation. So maximize your time, please, but also remember why you're there and keep that in the forefront because that is more important than maximizing your time. the memories you're making, the time you're spending with your loved ones. That's much more important than maximizing your time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I always have fun chatting with you. I just think it's fun. You're the best. You're fun to talk to. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I am going to do my best to have a really great report about how I have no weeds and my garden is fully planted on the next episode. Oh man, I just got nervous when I said that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but now I feel like I have a little bit of accountability, and that's probably what I need. Accountability never hurt anybody. All right, I will be back next week with something new. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk soon.